Hey guys, so Lord here, back again with another edition of Flashback Fridays, and what I have for you today is the Funko Disney Afternoon Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers Chip and Dale, of course. Now before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for these figures, let us first take a look-see at their lone accessory, which is of course going to be none other than Zipper the Fly, who is just a static piece. He doesn't move at all, not even a cut joint in the head there, but he looks like he did in the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers series and can stand up with a little bit of effort. There you go. But with that being said, let's get him out of here. And before we take a closer look at these two, a little bit of a history lesson on Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. It actually was originally supposed to be a series about Bernard and Bianca from the Disney movie The Rescuers that came out in the mid-70s, which starred two little mice that saved a little girl named Penny from the evil clutches of Madame Medusa and her goon Snoops, who were trying to get Penny to bring them back the Devil's Eye from this cave located in the swamps of Louisiana, New Orleans, one of the two. Let's just say instead of a series based around that, we got the Rescuers Down Under, thus Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was born. And they actually made Gadget for this series as well, but for whatever reason, she's incredibly hard to come by now. I remember seeing her in GameStop for what seemed to be the longest time. Had to throw a Billy Joel reference in a Disney review, right? That said, no luck finding Gadget, so if anyone has that figure and is willing to part with it or hook a brother up, let me know. And also, I guess they were planning to release Monterey Jack, but that fell through. So that kind of sucks. We do not have the complete team. So, Brian Flynn, Super 7, if you ever come across this review, which they probably won't, but, wishful thinking, please and thank you. Give us the rest of the Rescue Rangers. That would be awesome. Give us a Horned King while you're at it, too. They don't make a lot of merchandise for him. But I digress. So taking a closer look at both Chip and Dale, we'll look at Dale first, who is the one that came with Zipper, I believe. Chip came with a hat that's permanently attached to his head. So I guess Dale needed some extra plastic to be worth the $15 price point. Kind of steep for these, considering, what is it, the Savage World figures were about the same, and I think those are a little better as far as, overall fun factor goes. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Batman that looks like he belongs in Masters of the Universe, right? That said, those figures also tended to fall apart a little bit. I don't know what the deal with that is. I never had that problem. Knock on wood. So, it is what it is. But as far as these Disney Afternoon figures go, they're pretty solid. They made some for Chip and Dale, they made some for DuckTales, they made some for Tailspin, and for Darkwing Duck. Now, they didn't make any for My Beloved Gargoyles, because, that would have been really cool, and probably would have kept the line alive, but, it is what it is. But as far as articulation on these go, it's pretty basic. The heads do rotate. Dale's literally just rotates. He doesn't even have up and down, but it is on a ball joint, I believe. Shoulders go out to the side pretty far. You can go past 90 with Dale here. You go back down. They rotate forward and back. You have a single joint at the elbow, usually about 90. They have a waist rotation. And their hips are on V-cuts, which really they could have just left them static, but at least in this case, if something is warped, you can get them to stand. Their tails don't move. Those are what they are. But Dale looks like Dale, I think maybe the pupils could have been a little bigger on him. but it is what it is. Looks accurate enough to me. Yeah, that's the deal. Hawaiian shirt and all. Moving on. We have Chip with his jacket and his hat. And as far as his articulation goes, it's the same, but he's got a little bit more in the head. He's got a ball joint. And his shoulders are a little bit, I'll say his shoulders are a lot stiffer. And you can only move them up about that far. The jacket is a separate piece, but it's very stiff. It's hard plastic, so you're not going to get a lot of range out of that. Other than that, his articulation is practically the same. You get the arms to bend about 90. And then his waist does move, and his hips move as well. They do have pankos at the bottom of the feet, but they don't really need stands. Which is nice, but, you know, it's the thought that counts. But Chip looks like Chip, and I gotta tell you, I kind of always preferred Dale to Chip. Chip just seemed like kind of a Leonardo from Ninja Turtles. At times in the show, he was a bit of a dick, so, you know. Always had a soft spot for old goofball Dale here, who doesn't eat whale, you know. Check out my movie review for the Rescue Rangers movie when you have a chance. It's I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. But that's pretty much it for these guys. There's not a whole lot to talk about. They are what they are. They look like the show. So if you want figures that look like the show, then by all means, pick these up. They're not too expensive. If you want Gadget, good freaking luck. Probably not going to find her that easily. But, you know, I've been proven wrong before. There you go. Side note, Chip and Dale's designs for this show were based off Miami Vice and Indiana Jones. I think you can make out which is which here, but with that being said, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's our Funko Rescue Rangers next to a couple of Super 7 Disney Ultimates, Pinocchio and Mickey Mouse, the Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey Mouse to be exact, just to give you an idea of how these guys scale with some other smaller figures that I have, because these Ultimates are pretty small, and this should also give you an idea of how big they might be if Super 7 ever gets around to making them, so there's that. And last but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legions for the Mandibulus. Live at spawn as usual, towers over everyone. I mean, they are chipmunks after all. So with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and if you're a die-hard Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers fan like myself, these are a definite must-have for you. And while they are not the most dynamic figures in the world, they're not really supposed to be. I don't think Chip and Dale need to be doing all kinds of Spider-Man poses, so the fact that they have any articulation at all is a bonus in my book. And on the flip side, they are also relatively affordable, so if you missed out on them while they came out, or while they were out, I should say, you should be able to pick them up relatively cheap. So with that being said, I would highly recommend you add these two to your Disney collection if you have one, or if you're just a fan of the show, you can pick them up for that reason as well. So that said, hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Flashback Fridays. If you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. If you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep your comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when toy companies decide not to finish the whole team. I mean, come on, I thought that was a 90s thing, man. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.